Okay, hands-on equations, fractions, lessons 7 and 12 are what they call the honors lessons. These are the ones that are to be done with pencil and paper rather than using your manipulatives. So we're actually going to put these away for now. Kind of move them away. We're going to be doing these using what we know about algebra, which you guys have been working with already. Okay, so I'm actually going to use one of the problems on the worksheet itself. I don't have example problems for these. I'm going to say, hey, I've got 5y plus a half of a y plus 3 equals 25. All right. And so for these, again, my strategy with the manipulatives are going to be the same as what I'm going to do now here on pencil and paper. I want to get all my y's on one side, and I want to get all my whole numbers on the other side, okay? So I'm going to start with what's easy for me, which is to move this 3 over by subtracting it from both sides. When I have positive 3 and negative 3, they zero out, right? And so on the right side now I have 25 minus 3, I've got 22, all right? On the left side, I'm going to combine these fractions here, okay? And so, again, I'm not using manipulatives, so I'm going to think I'm going to have 5 and a half y. These are going to be easier if you think in terms of mixed fractions. You're going to see why in a minute. So if I have 5 and a half and I do mixed numbers, that's going to be 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So here I'm going to have 11 halves of y equal 22. Okay? So here I have to think, really, y is a number that if I multiply it, I'm going to get 22. All right? I have a couple different ways I can do this algebraically, or I could just do this logically. Okay, if I multiply it by 2, well, the 2 is going to cancel with the denominator. I'm going to get 11. So I can logic my way into thinking, well, this has to be a 4. Okay, there's another way to do this. I'm really trying to get y by itself. So from an algebra standpoint, what I can do is I can multiply by the reciprocal. Because when I multiply this reciprocal, I'm going to get 1. And if I multiply this side by this reciprocal, then I have to multiply this side by the reciprocal. Okay? So this is kind of a technique we're definitely going to be using a lot next year. Now y is all by itself. Y is going to equal 22 times 2 over 11. And again, if you remember how to handle your fractions, right, I can cross cancel here. I get 2 times 2, y is equal to 4. And I've solved for y. Obviously, we want the half. It'll be half of 4. It'll be 2. Okay? So that's how we're doing lesson 7. Lesson 7 has no negative numbers, so it's a little bit easier than lesson 12, which does have negative numbers. Okay, so for lesson 12, I'm actually going to use the example problems that are on your sheet. There are 2 of them down here. We're going to work both of these pencil and paper. Okay, so here's example 1. 4y minus half of y plus 8 is equal to half of y minus 4. All right? Okay, I want all my y's on one side and all my constants on the others. Y doesn't have to be on the left, but since I already have 4 y's over here, I'm going to move everything over here. Okay? So that means what I want to do is I want to subtract half of y from both sides. So I'm going to write that out because this means this is all going to go away. Okay, that becomes a 0. Okay, if my y's are going to be on the left, then I need to move the 8 over. I'm going to move the 8 over by subtracting it from both sides. Okay, again, that's going to become a 0. So I just really need to now add everything together here. The right side's the easiest. I've got a negative 4 and a negative 8. That's going to give me a negative 12 on the right side. So think about what's happening on the left side. I've got 4y minus a half minus another half. Well, that's actually pretty easy. That's going to be 4y minus a whole. That's going to give me 3y. If 3y is negative 12, then y has to equal negative 4, right? Okay. So you actually should be checking this. So I'm actually going to run the check through on this one because these are a little bit more complicated. So the original problem, I'm going to go based on here, is that 4y, well, that's going to be 4 times negative 4, okay, minus half of y is negative 2. So minus negative 2, subtract negative 2 means add positive 2, okay, plus 8 equals half of y, negative 2, minus 4. Is this going to be a true statement is what we're saying. Okay, so here I'm going to have negative 16 plus 10. Does that equal negative 6? Yes, that does check out. Okay, so that's example 1, lesson 12. Let's do the second one. Okay. Okay. This one says 2y plus 1/3 y minus 4 is equal to 1/2 of y minus 37. Okay. Again, I look at the left. I've got more y's on the left than I do the right, so I'm going to move all my y's over here. Okay. And I want to move all my constants over here. So that means I'm going to say here, I'm going to subtract the 1/2 of y. And I'm going to go ahead and write it over here. I'm going to figure out a way to combine all these guys in a moment, but these guys are going to go away. Okay. And then I need to move the 4 over to this side. So I'm going to do that, and this goes away, right? So this becomes a 0, and this becomes a 0. Kind of messy. So again, I'm going to do the easy side first. Negative 37 plus 4, that's going to give me negative 33, right? Okay. This side here, okay, I've got a lot of mixed fractions here. I guess I'm going to need to really think in terms of 6, right? Okay, so let's just rewrite the whole thing in terms of 6. I've got 2 wholes in terms of 6 would be 12/6 of y, right? Plus, okay, 1/3 in terms of, if I make it 6, that would be 2/6 of y minus 3/6 of y. Okay, so all I did was convert each one of these fractions here into 6. 2y is equal to 12/6. 1/3 is equal to 2/6. 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Now it's just really easy. 12/6 plus 2/6 minus 3/6. Okay, that's going to be 11/6 of y are going to equal negative 33. Okay. So again, I could maybe try to logic my way in terms of what do I have to multiply this by. In other words, I've got really 11 times, and this has to be a negative 3, but I'm dividing by 6. So you may be able to intuitively figure out that this has to be negative 18, but I could use this little algebra trick that makes it a little bit easier to do this, which is multiply by the reciprocal in order to get y by itself, right? Because when I multiply these guys together, everything cancels out. I get 1 times y. Y is by itself. And then it's a little easier to see that this is going to end up being 3 times negative 3 times 6. Y is going to equal negative 18. Okay, that's y. All right. So now comes the fun part, plugging it all back in. Okay. So we're saying y is negative 18. Okay, so the original equation, going back to my original equation here, so 2y would be negative 36. That's 2 times negative 18. 1/3 of y would be negative 6. So I'm going to add 1/3 of y. That'd be adding negative 6, or subtract 6, minus 4 equals half of y, negative 9, minus 37. Okay? Combine these guys together, I get negative 46, right? Combine this side together, I'm going to get negative 36 minus another 6. Well, actually, this is going to be minus another 10, right? I'm going to get negative 46. Okay, negative 46 equals negative 46. We've checked it. It all works out. So these are definitely a little bit more challenging. Some of you definitely have the skills to do this, and I would highly encourage you to do these problems. If you're in that higher level in this class, you should be doing these, okay? Talk to you later.